collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation reading. Timeless, but doing this for October and November 2021. I'm your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short. Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle production since 1998, author of Words of Grace from a professional witch, available on Kindle. Link in the description box, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi, doing the 12-card spread, 3 levels of power spread for work, career, vocation. Your life purpose seen through the lenses of the 3 levels of power. There's a link in the description box by Myss, PhD, MYSS, PhD. This is her archetype deck, explaining what the 3 levels of power are, so I don't have to. We can look at many different areas of your life through the 3 levels of power: eau de toilette, cologne, perfume, right? All the same thing, but different levels of power. But in this case, looking at your life purpose for a 2-month period. Again, timeless whenever you are watching this. So, the general read, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, check your other signs, simply because your sun sign is going to get a different piece of leverage, one of these 3 levels of power, than your moon, your rising, or your Venus sign. I am Mercury conjunct Venus in Libra, 3rd house, so really happy to help the Venus-driven Libras out there so that they can do what they love. Right? Do what you love, the money will follow, with lots of different lessons along the way. So of course this is about getting paid and surviving, but it's also about your inner passion, right? What sets you on fire, what lights you up, as well as your spiritual calling. So let's get up in this gig. I do these spreads for clients and have been for decades, so if you'd like to do so, there is a video in the description box, booking a reading with Mal, explaining everything, how a reading with me rolls, before, during, and after. Other than that, let's cut to the chase. All the decks that I read are always at the bottom of the description box, along with lots of other linkage for interesting stuff. Both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can about your life purpose. Clues, tips, and hints from the divine. Please take a nice deep breath. Because you're cardinal air, cardinal air sign, take another nice deep breath. Really be here now. Feel your feet on the floor, nice and grounded, because here we go. As I call upon the collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life, purpose through work, career, and vocation, and the higher selves of all involved, 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra and above, dealing with the Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. I would like 3 archetype cards to typify the 8th chakra dynamic for their work, for their career, and for their vocation, the lessons they're learning. Looking at their work, career, vocation as 3 different energy fields that overlap. First, we'll do their work, what's going on in the 8th chakra, the soul power being alchemized in their work in the world. How about their career? Right, their inner world, their more feminine energy, right? What lights them up in the inside? What's their 8th chakra dynamic going on there? And for their vocation, their spiritual calling, the star they follow, whether they're aware of it or not, their spiritual mystical power, what's going on there? The 8th chakra dynamic of their vocation. Good. These 3 are on the table. This is really the energetic skeleton. Oh my. Oh wow, 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 wow. What an interesting combo. Libra is definitely a Libra reading, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We've got the Destroyer, Damsel, Mystic, which is one way to define what's going on here, as well as you can also say the Mystic, Damsel, Destroyer. Can go in either direction. Very, very, why I'm saying this is interesting. Hey, get in place there, okay, is the Destroyer archetype. I know it sounds horrible, as I say over and over and over again. As horrible as an archetype sounds, it's neutral. So the light must balance it out, right? This is the shadow, the light, what's written on the card here. The Destroyer archetype, I think, is a wild card family. There are 9 different families of archetypes. But let me read it to you. The shadow attribute, intoxication with destructive power. You know what I'm talking about, evil laughter. Destroying others' dreams or potentials. We see it happen all the time, right? on planet Earth amongst us humans. But the light attribute, what you're shooting for here, releasing what is potentially destructive. That's why we've got a volcano here, right? If the pressure isn't dealt with in some way, it will eventually explode. And remember, it looks like a mountain until it erupts, right? Something stable and strong, and then boom. Preparing for new life, which I think is also very apt for a volcano in the imagery here, because volcanic ash is one of the most mineral-rich, nutrient-dense mineral earth element on the planet. So it might be that you are blowing up your work, or your work is being blown up, or you want to blow it up, right? In the physical world, and certainly the first level of power, the literal level of power, really dominated by the lower three chakras, relationships, things in the physical world. There might be some upset here, but make sure it's not to repress the anger, the rage, the confusion, the frustration, whatever is going on there, but releasing what is potentially destructive. So releasing, discharging that energy, destructive energy. And people freak out over the word destruction and yet love creation. Well, you want to destroy a cancer cell, don't you? It's part of the cycle of death and rebirth, creation and destruction. So we all have to deal with that. I mean, without the destructive energy, none of us would be alive. How would your digestive system break down the cell tissues of the food you're eating, right, to extract the nutrients? You see what I'm saying? So stomach acid, perfect example there. But preparing for a new life. So hang in there. Maybe don't burn down the village just yet, particularly in your career. This is what makes it, to me, particularly Libran. Feminine family archetype of the damsel. Now, the damsel is still alive and well on planet Earth, and I will say this now, lots of damsel archetypes, both genders, watching romantic reads on YouTube, because they are waiting for something. The shadow attribute, waiting for a knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, not to be confused with waiting for the knight, J-Lo, waiting for a K-N-I-G-H-T to provide for them. Seduction by romantic illusions, and that's very easy. Now, I know it's a romance card, but this can absolutely be about somebody who has a romance for their work, if not directly, in their career, right? That 8th chakra thing. Well, let me read you the light attribute. Understanding the nature of healthy romance, inspiring you to rely on yourself. Very much Drew Barrymore in Ever After. I think the best Cinderella story, at least movie, made, where she rescues her own self. Now, certainly, just because it's a feminine family archetype doesn't automatically make whoever's watching this a woman, biological or otherwise. It is not about gender. It's about internal. And this is where you're going to find your mental, emotional balance, very Libra, in the career, which is heart, throat, third eye, crown dominant. We'll get there in the next 3 cards. And what lights this up like fireworks for me is the mystic. In the 8th chakra, a divine family archetype, if ever there was one, but its toxicity is pretty intense. The shadow attribute, delusional rapport with the divine, and then I look here, seduction by romantic illusions. This is a tricky mix in the shadow, but such triumph available for the Libras here. The light attribute of the mystic revels in intimate union with the divine. This feels like somebody who's either self-employed or doing it all for themselves, where the world around them, they may be going through a big time of recreating their work, destroying what's potential. Could be getting rid of people, toxic people in your life, right? Or dealing with your own anger and frustration, which after these past couple of years, October 2021 at the time of this recording, particularly for the self-employed, it's been a struggle. I'm self-employed. I have been Drawing the Circle production since 1998. I've been a minister. I've sat on the board of a eclectic church of witchcraft, literal 501c3. So I know that the work part of the world can change so quickly. And, you know, intoxication with destructive power and destroying others' potential, that's pretty heavy duty. there. So let's keep going. Let's go deeper. You got the basic dynamic, right? The destroyer damsel mystic, or the mystic damsel destroyer, which sounds pretty damn intense. So let's see what's going on. Heart, third eye crown dynamic. Now, if you really think of these three levels of power as three different entities, one your work, one your career, and one your vocation, but they're siblings. They're all part of the same family of your life purpose. Let's see what's going on in the internal world. As I call upon, ooh, my goddesses of air, the sign of Libra, the powers of the East, please, one at a time. What is the heart, third eye crown dynamic using the Daughters of the Moon Tarot as our translation system here? The Libra has the destroyer archetype in the 8th chakra of their work. What's going on in their heart, throat, third eye crown? Oh, good. Temperance. Oh, a Libra card if ever we needed one. Temperance, that balance, that taking water and fire and bringing them together. Now you hear the word don't lose your temper. What does that mean? That means don't lose your balance, right? Tempered steel, what they do to it to make it tempered steel is pretty intense. Fire and it's a nightmare. Chemicals, like whatever they do, a sword that is pounded out and hammered in and on itself over and over thousands of times, whatever, right, to make them unbreakable. It's tempered steel. Process of tempering is very similar to alchemy. It takes time, heat usually, and pressure. So definitely the balance of your fire and your water here, right? What you want, your element of fire, what you yearn for, what you burn for, what your heart's desire, what you're actually feeling. This destroyer archetype then very much could be about you keeping your temper here, not burning down the village, but not just releasing the destructive potential there, but channeling it, using it. Because those voices of anger and frustration are often the parts of us that need to be heard by us, right? They're trying to hold the justice of that's just not fair and we should be able to rah. Now, again, that very energy can burn down the village, but it can, if you can give that a loving way of expressing itself, it's trying to protect you. It's bringing you into balance in a very visceral way, like that. My goddesses, what's going on with the damsel here? Very much a Libra card, that damsel, that beautiful feminine vibe here. But in their work, career, vocations really shouldn't be about romance, and I don't think it is, because here we've got the Seven of Cups. You're familiar with the Seven of Cups, I'm sure. Rider-Waite Tarot, 7 cups in the clouds, right? Each of them, oh, I would love that, I would love that, I would love that, I would love that, I would love that. But you have to focus on one of them in order to bring it into physical reality here. Now, the key word here written on the card is jealousy. Maybe that's there, maybe that's not. But I will say envy, which is the older brother of jealousy in my opinion, he's the deadly sin. Envy is the deadly sin, the shadow passion of the third eye that can be healed with the grace of knowledge and the grace of clarity. It's in my book, Words of Grace, but also Carolyn Mace's Defy Gravity here. So if there is some jealousy going on here, maybe you're watching other people get rescued by knights, pay attention to that. That could very much be part of what's inspiring the tempering here of that destructive energy to destroy someone. Now look, I'm a witch. A lot of people tell me secrets. A lot of people, I live under vows of confidentiality. It's part of what these cords are that I wear all the time. Reminders that I'm bound by divine vows of confidentiality. But what I could do with the truth, right? I don't need to make shit up. I can see through people now much better than I ever could before. Oh, what I could do with the truth. But that's why I live by vows of confidentiality. If someone tells me something in confidentiality, no. But envy can make you do that. Jealousy can make you do that. Can key somebody's car, right? It can be a very destructive thing. But keep in mind, you have other options here. Heart, third eye crown. This is definitely a heart chakra card. Really focus yourself on understanding what healthy romance is. Now, I know in a career, I mean, someone can be a romance writer, so many ways that can make itself out. But if we look at a creative feminine energy, the first level of power of this lane is survival, intuition, navigating the physical world. This is creative intuition, heart, third eye, crown. You've got options, but you really have to kind of focus yourself. What is it that your heart really desires here? Like, of all of those 7 cups, what is the one that you feel really called to? Because there is a mystical lesson in place here. Things may not appear as they are. Now, just to say, on YouTube, I've been binge watching Agatha Christie's Poirot, the BBC series. You can find anything pretty much on YouTube nowadays, as long as they can handle the copyright issues, right? So, you know, it's a mystery, right? It's not the detective archetype, it's the mystic. But the mystic, if you're going to get it in your calling. To say, oh no, life is a mystery and everyone must stand alone, but I walk with gods, I walk with angels, I'm fine. I will make my way through this, because why? I can revel in intimate union with the divine, which sees way more than we do down here in the game. So let's see what's going on there. I feel like this might be your leverage. Feels like the work's getting done in your work, right? That internal tempering, balance, healing does take time, does take patience, particularly if there is some emotional upset going on in the career. So my goddesses of Libra. Ooh, hey, what was that? 1 card in clarity. What's going on in their calling there with that mystic in the 8th chakra? S'il vous plaît. Je le dis, s'il vous plaît. What's going on for the Libras? All right, I got it. 5 of Blades. Often a card of mental conflict in this deck, the Hurricane. If a thought is a breath, what's a hurricane? Really wonderful drink in New Orleans. When the mystic finds themselves in mental conflict, the best place for them is in the eye of the hurricane, metaphorically speaking, right? Find that center. And I think that's what's going on here with your work. You're being patient. You're hanging in there. You're feeling all these things. You might very well be feeling some jealousy, some envy going on there, waiting for your rescue, but learning to rely upon yourself and how to do this in a healthy way. The romantic part of it, I wouldn't say is problematic. I think it needs to be reframed, and I think that can only be done in a personal read, because I can't look at every single person watching this reading and give it context. So comment below if you can about what the romantic, it can be that you're just so in love with what you do and you're seeing other people succeed, and your world might be burning down a little bit or you want to burn it down. So this is saying that the mind is really not your ally here in terms of your vocation, because there's a mystery. You want to know, I want to know, I want to know, I want to know. It's like, well, so does Hercule Poirot at the beginning of the mystery. He finally figures it out at the end. Little gray cells, right? Or the hero on the hero's journey. It's like they're not going to be told what's going to happen to them on the journey they haven't even taken yet. Or if you look at it as a 5 halfway through, you will come to resolution in this. Okay, I'll take that cough as a clue. Cough up those things that you are, those little information tidbits swirling around you. The toxicity of the well-meaning you have to be careful of. The people who love you and care about you, often out of their own fear, will breathe some pretty scary air into a situation, particularly when you don't know. Just be careful of that. Allow all the thoughts to kind of circle around you, right? Because what both of these cards have in common, I don't necessarily mean in tarot, I mean in energy, is that this is about mental conflict and confusion, and this is about a lot of options, which could be very confusing. Now, I will say confusion is not a comfortable place for anyone to be, let alone an air sign, right? Let alone a Libra who wants to balance it, to be that center point in the scale and see everything perfectly. It is a necessary rite of passage going on here, and minds change in the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Blades, right? Things change after a hurricane. You come to the 6 of Blades, which is more about balance. So I'm liking this. In a way, I'm liking it. Let's look at the lower 3 chakra dynamics. Now, this is the physical part of this, you from the outside looking in. at yourself, you from the inside looking out. Often it's both of those things holographically, but it has to do with the lower 3 chakras, your relationships, root chakras, tribal relationships, your family, your friends, your industry you're involved in, your nationality, any group that you, it's a really good exercise. Take a week and write down, like even on your phone, all the different tribes and groups you belong to. You'd be shocked how many of them you are unaware of. That you actually do. Second chakra, one-on-one relationship, particularly money, your relationship with money, because money is one energy field that you have a personal relationship with, as well as other people, right? And solar plexus is your relationship to yourself, your honor code, your self-esteem, your intuition that no one else is going to get but you, because it's your intuition. Self-esteem is a verb, and it is deeply connected to intuition. So let's see what this is about. These feel ready. Breathe. Yeah, as I call upon my gods of air, the sign of Libra, and the powers of the East, please, 3 cards, lower 3 chakra dynamic, using the Mythic Tarot, Juliet Sherman Burke's deck here for the Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. In their work, they've got the Destroyer with Temperance, so I can feel like they're being disciplined. They're holding it together, particularly if they could destroy somebody's career, right? Destroy somebody's work career. Maybe with what they know or what they see. What's going on in the lower 3 chakras here? Please, nice card in clarity. Interesting. The Empress. Now, if this is you from the outside looking in, it does mean that actually you have a divine feminine energy power here. But I want you to think, what would the Shadow Empress do? The Shadow Empress would have them all killed, right? Think about that, right? I think that's the thing. You have a lot of power here. This could be the boss. Right? We don't often think of the Empress as the boss. We think of the Emperor, but why should that be so? I mean, the Empress, Demeter in this card, has the abundance, has the knowledge, has the wisdom. She's the amalgamation of the 4 queens of the tarot. Fire, earth, air, water, and spirit. Perfect balance here. And if that is not the case, if you are not so much feeling the Empress, then this might be somebody you are dealing with in your work that may have power over you. It's definitely a power dynamic, let's put it that way. As well as it can also be, whether you are aware of this or not, because it is a major arcana card, you are going through a time of unification, your fire, earth, air, water with spirit. And there is fertility and abundance and maybe new things being born, right? Well, particularly, the Empress is usually seen as pregnant. Demeter is in this card. I guess she's pregnant with Persephone here. Preparing for new life. Could be that. Could be that indeed. And that's why you're maybe biding your time. And I would think that would be maybe closing things out in a work thing so that you can really focus on your career, making that your mainstay of income. Breathe. Gods of air, please. They, in their career, they've got the Damsel in the 8th, 7 of Cups. Yeah, the keyword jealousy. Maybe there's a touch of that in there in the 3rd eye. What do you got going on here? What do they got going on here in their career, lower 3 chakras? Okay. 10 of Wands, definitely the village burned down here. That's an interesting card because we often see this idea of burden. It is the completion of the cycle of fire. Something has been attained, but it is often a burden or unsatisfying, or you've got it and you're so tired that it's not really all that enjoyable, and that is certainly depicted in this card. This is Jason and the Argonauts, the suit of fire, wands I should say, in the Mythic Tarot, is about the quest of the Golden Fleece. Well, they've got the Golden Fleece, and the 10 wands that he's sitting there, some of them on fire, are pieces of the wreckage of the ship, the Argo, hence the Argonauts. Yes, they completed the journey, but they didn't necessarily get home in one piece. Rarely do heroic stories of the Greek. Does everybody who left for the journey come back alive? So there is some burnout here. I could feel that, right? And hence wanting some rescue. Now, I am going to say rescue doesn't have to come from another individual necessarily. It could be. But this could really be waiting on an institution, right? Waiting on a phone call. You're a little burned out. You're seeing other people perhaps excel. You've got all these options on the inside, but it feels like there's an exhaustion going on here with the waiting for rescue. And, you know, whether that's a check, that could be all sorts of different things. And I feel like you're so tired of waiting, and there are all these options that you have, but you're waiting on something and it's burning you out. So what's going on here, my gods, with the mystic? Because this is their leverage. I'm going to say your mystical power, your divine power. Spirituality and mysticism are not exactly the same thing. Mysticism involves the divine. Spirit does not always involve the divine, although everything's divine, but levels of consciousness. So with that mystic, my gods, please, mystic in the 8th chakra, 5 of blades on the inner. What's going on the outer here? The moon, a mystery card if ever there was one. I think that, I know you are going through a mystical transformation here in terms of your calling. One would even say with the moon, you're either hyper intuitive about what's going on in terms of your spiritual growth, your spiritual calling, your life mission spiritually, but your mind is changing, or there's mental conflict there because you can't see it, right? It's like, I experience this. I'm the first to say I'm a born mystic. You can have an archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Even when I was a little kid, incredibly devout in prayer, even as a Roman Catholic. That's why any religion would have been glad to have me. That's why I made my own. Angelo Lyonism. I'm the only one in it. Thank you very much. Me and the gods are having a lovely, lovely time. Because everything you need is within you. Annoying as that sounds, it is true. Because you are the divine in physical form. This is Hecate, however, one of my goddesses since birth, the goddess of witches, the queen of the crossroads, the crone of the crossroads. There might be a major decision you are looking at in your life, but you have no idea which way to go. Hence these options going on in your career, and your mind might very well be in conflict. Well, I would love to do that. That sounds lovely, but the state of the world right now and the economy, and did you hear what this one said? And what about this report? Which Libra's air signs will do that. They will gather information, sometimes to their detriment. And remember, just because it's on the internet, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gospel truth. But I would say with Demeter and Hecate, I mean, Hecate is an elder deity. She's Hecate from the Egyptian pantheon, the frog-headed goddess, but a goddess of the underworld. And really, if you want to look at it, you got the mother and the crone here. You want to talk witchcraft there for a hot second. So it does feel like there's a maturation going on. And there are times we're just not supposed to see what's going on until we do. Frustrating as hell. Yeah, waiting for the truth, waiting for a night. Whoa. You can be there in their arms. Let's get the mantras down. These usually click it into place. The Healing Mantra Deck by Matt Kahn. Not reading from the bookie book this time. These readings are long enough. Please take a nice deep breath. Yeah, one more for balance. So I call upon the Ascended Masters of Life Purpose through the lenses of work, career, and vocation, please, for the Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. What are the perfect healing mantras for the cardinal air signs watching this? In their work, career, vocation, whenever they're catching this timeless read, they've got the Destroyer with Temperance and the Empress. And that is formidable. By the way, the Destroyer with 2 major arcana cards, that Temperance on the inner, really the discipline, the balance. But with that Empress card, a lot of fertility, right? Boss energy, feminine boss energy, not necessarily female. What's their perfect healing mantra to help them with that? I think you like this. Dissolving judgments. I don't have to like the actions of others in order to enjoy my journey. Are you watching people get over in dishonorable ways and you're trying to be just and fair and balanced? Is one of those personages a feminine energy? Again, not necessarily female. I don't have to like the actions of others in order to love my journey. The actions of others are part of the plan too. They may be triggering you, but they're moving you into growth. They're making you get in touch with your darker side here, intoxication with destructive power. If you have something on this person, you don't have to like them in order to love your journey, nor do you really have to destroy them, right? That's one scenario here definitely on the table. And I feel like with that Temperance card, that's not who you are. You want to be fair. You want to be balanced. I mean, really, Temperance is a Libra vibe there. So that's interesting. Dissolving judgments. Hey, I pardon them. That doesn't mean I have... You can pardon somebody silently and just be like, that's their pain. That's their gig. If they're being illegal or disreputable or shady, there's the word we're looking for, in their work stuff, you could say, well, that's their pain, that's them, bless them. I pardon them, but I don't have to deal with them. I've been playing with the word pardon instead of forgive, because when you understand the pain people are in, even if you don't understand what that pain is, you can go, oh, it's not, forgive them, they don't know what they do. Pardon them, they don't know what they do. And New Testament. Okay, let's look at your career here, please, my Ascended Master, since you're in the room. What's the perfect healing mantra for the Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in their career? The Damsel, such an interesting, fascinating thing for a career there. Seven of Cups in there, all those options, emotional options, perhaps even some jealousy going on there, some emotional upset. With the Ten of Wands, just sort of done waiting, just sort of like so burdened, like they got to where they needed to be and now they're exhausted. What's going on with them? What's the perfect healing mantra for that? Acknowledging apprehension. When it's a yes, nothing can stop me. When I'm unsure, it's always a no. I live by that. That's intuition. That is really honoring yourself. And I add to that the end of that mantra for now. So here's how I say it. When it's a yes, nothing can stop me. But if I'm unsure, it's always a no for now. Let me take a nap, right? Check me tomorrow. Let me tune into this later. Because this can also say that your nervous system is inflamed. Right? We don't make the best decisions when our nervous systems are inflamed, particularly if there's a destroyer archetype in your work, right? The ego, according to Matt Kahn, this is his healing mantra deck, his definition of the ego is the personality that arises out of an inflamed nervous system. In other words, when you're at peace, when someone else is at peace, they tend to make more peaceful decisions, no? But if someone's inflamed, they burn down the village. So whether this is inside of you or outside of you, that Empress, definitely in terms of your career here, you have a skill. Like of all of these options, right? The Seven of Cups, those options that we hear so much about, castles in the sky, feel them out. If it's a yes, nothing can stop me. But if I'm unsure, it's always a no. And I feel like that unsurety might very much be part of what's going on here in the Mystic. There's a mystery. It's got the moon on it. Let's get your mantra there. Yeah, my Ascended Masters particularly feels like this is where their leverage is. If they can really get comfortable with the mystery, right? You don't solve mysteries, you endure them, and then they solve themselves. So please, as willing participants for the Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, what's their perfect healing mantra? Mystic in the 8th. The Hurricane, 5 of Blades on the inner, lots of mental conflict, and the Moon, confusion, but also a strong intuitive impulse there at the crossroads, dispelling sadness. I will feel better once I get the rest I need. This is your leverage. This is your leverage to say, oh, I am at that place that everyone comes to in a mystery where we are at a plateau, and that plateau is serving me here. If there is sadness involved here in some way, you need your rest. We all do, right? To come into balance. That can totally be part of that temperance going on here in your work. Give it time. Let me rest. Let me come into balance. I will feel better after I get the rest that I need. Now, I like to play with these mantras, again, going horizontally both directions. Dissolving judgments, acknowledging apprehension, and dispelling sadness, right? But if you flip them, When you read them the other way, I will feel better once I get the rest I need. When it's a yes, nothing can stop me. When I'm unsure, it's always a no for now. And I don't have to like the journey of others in order to, I don't have to like the actions of others in order to love my journey. This is about you really becoming strong within yourself. There is self-care on the table. There is a really listening to your creative energy, because your soul won't lie to you. Others will. The mind will. The mind is a servant anyway. Ajna, the Sanskrit name for the third eye, means servant. It's a brilliant servant. Horrible master, because it can only compare and contrast on the conscious level. This is saying, heart, third eye, crown, you can be reliant upon yourself, and you can learn something healthy about, and I'm putting it in air quotes for my Libras, romance. That feels very, very personal for a lot of people watching this video, unless it is just you're in the romance business, and I don't mean hooker. Like, you know, like flowers and candy and, you know, that kind of stuff, apparel, any of that stuff that is romance driven in your career, or there really is a romance in your career, most likely with what you're doing here. Perhaps waiting for some backing here. So if you have options, well, this one wants to back me, but they want something else I don't want to give, or this is the one that really, really feels right, but it's not unfolding. That's okay. Right in the present moment. If it's a yes, nothing can stop me. If I'm unsure, it's always a no. And if you're looking at all 8 options and you're not getting a ping on anything, your nervous system is inflamed. Take the time. Get the rest that you need. Good. Let's do this. Where's my thing? Torch of Ariel. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon the collective pantheons of the divine to please bless the Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that they can fulfill their life purpose and their role in the divine plan, that in their work they can release what is potentially destructive, inner or outer, in their lives, preparing for a new life with temperance, with balance, with discipline, taking the time, being patient to do the healing work, involving the Empress energy, them or somebody else who really has the boss vibe here. I don't get a horrible vibe from this, my gods, my collective pantheons, but I will say that Empress there is pretty powerful for a work situation. But it's really important that the Libras dissolve their judgments on this. Allow the judgments to be heard within them, but not to necessarily voice or act them or enact them externally, act on them externally, because they don't have to like the actions of others in order to love their journey. And I think that is very much indicated in what you've given us here with the damsel in the 8th chakra of their career, understanding the nature of healthy romance, and the nature of healthy romance, the core of it, inspiring them to rely upon themselves and perhaps their own creativity here, but they've got a lot of options with that 7 of Cups here, that they receive the clarity that they need on that because they're inflamed, they're exhausted. There is a burden here, but it feels more stress-oriented while they are waiting. But for their own intuitive process to acknowledge the apprehension that they're feeling, because if it's a yes, nothing can stop them. But if they're unsure, it's always a no for now, and that's why really their leverage appears to be here in their mystical 8th chakra vocation. The light attribute of the mystic, may they revel in intimate union with the divine, regardless of the thoughts that they have that will come and go like weather and bloat. Like a hurricane, things will change after it has passed through, but it will bring clearer skies and calmer vibes, because with the moon, they are being led through something intuitively here. But if their nervous system is inflamed, even acknowledging, they just have to acknowledge the apprehension to move on to the next step, right? To really feel that out. And that they can dispel any sadness, any congestion, any inflammation going on in their energy field. Because they will feel better once they get the rest they need, and most likely they will be able to acknowledge that apprehension and make clearer, wiser, more loving, empowered decisions for themselves and maybe everyone else involved in this situation. But they don't have to like how other people are acting in order to love their journey, in order to experience love in their career. And certainly what a blessing upon the world they are in that. So may they be blessed with all that they need, that we may all heal, grow, learn, and evolve along with them for the well-being of all. So mote it be. So it is. That's a good blessing. Long, but you know, you're a Libra. You'll like the words. So did you like it? Like it? Want more? Subscribe. Want me to want to book a reading with me? Link in the description box. Booking a reading with Mel. Want to read my book, Words of Grace? It's really good. You can preview it for free, and you just need the app now. You don't even actually need. I don't have the usual technology on Android. You can read the dedication to my mom. Otherwise, please do comment. What is that romance part of it? That damsel there? Just a couple of words. You don't gotta, reveal anything too much, but I would like to know. Otherwise, wishing you all the very best in your work, career, and vocation, my beloved scales. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.